Hi, I'm Sula, and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to talk about the best ways to zest an orange. Of course, this works with any other citrus. You can use a lime, a lemon, even a grapefruit if you want. Anything you want to zest, you can use this method for. I'm actually going to cover a few different ways to zest this orange, and I'll let you know my favorite, and you can let me know which one is yours. The first method is one I think of as the scrape and chop method, for lack of a better term. I actually use a few different tools to do this, and I'll show you all of them. It kind of depends upon what you have in your kitchen at your disposal to get this done. One of the simplest is simply to use a paring knife. And to do this, what you want to do is scrape the outer part of the peel. It's the orange part of the peel. If you look at an orange peel, it has a pretty thick white layer that's called the pith. That's very bitter. That's the part you definitely don't want when you're zesting. So when you're using a paring knife, you want to very, very gently scrape just that outer layer off. This is a tough thing for me to do. Maybe you can do it more easily. But if you get some of the white in there, what you want to do is flip it over, take your paring knife, and kind of scrape that away from the other side. We will have to chop this after we're done, but let me show you. First, I'd like to cut it in strips, but you still have to chop it, and we'll do that in a little bit. Let me show you a few other ways to scrape that outer layer off of that orange. Another tool that almost everyone has in their kitchen is a vegetable peeler. This actually works a little bit better to get just that first layer of orange peel off of the orange. You can see I get a pretty clean peel, very little pith. This is ready to cut into strips and then chop up. Now, kitchen tool number 3 to get to the same result. This is called a citrus zester. It has 5 little holes at the top, which does a great job of scraping the outer peel off of your citrus fruit. What it tends to do is kind of curl the peel a little bit, which makes this kind of a tool really excellent for garnishing cocktails with a little bit of zest. But essentially what you end up with is the outer peel of the orange in nice little strips. So let's chop these. As I said, for the first 2 tools, you need to cut these into strips and then chop. So I'll be the first to admit this is not my favorite method because there's a lot of steps to it. But if all you have at your disposal is a paring knife or a vegetable peeler and a knife or citrus zester and a knife, if that's all you have, this might be what works best for you. Now, let's talk about a box grater. Or maybe you think of this as a cheese grater, as I do, because that's what it's most useful for. However, you can zest a citrus on this. Simply scrape like you would a block of cheese, and this will produce a pretty nice citrus zest for you. The pieces sometimes are going to be a little bit longer, like a shredded piece of cheese, and you can chop if you want. But the biggest disadvantage to this is that so much of it gets stuck inside the box grater itself. So you end up reaching in there and scraping out what got left behind. I would say in this case, at least half of what I've produced was stuck inside the box grater. This also is not my favorite method. So here's the third method, and this is my favorite. They're called microplanes. You can see I have 2 slightly different styles. This one's wider and produces a much smaller grate. This one produces a larger grate, but it's more narrow. And so there are kind of advantages and disadvantages to either of these. But let's start with my favorite one. I like this because of the size and the way it produces a really great zest. Now, first of all, the way most people use these, and the way you see them used, is that we hold it so that the zest or whatever you're producing falls down onto your food. And you just kind of scrape across it and put it right on your food. This has a disadvantage, though, that I don't care for because I like to see how much I have. So many recipes calls for a teaspoon or a tablespoon or a specific amount of zest. And because of this, I like to hold the fruit in my hand, hold the zester more what we probably consider upside down, and scrape it like this toward me so that as I am producing the zest, I can immediately see exactly how much I am producing. So what's great about this is you can just take a spoon, scoop it up, and figure out about how much zest you have to work with. Now, let's try to do a little bit of the same with the other microplane. Use the same technique. Pull the microplane toward the body while you're holding the citrus, and keep an eye on how much zest you have, as well as how deeply into the fruit you're getting. The disadvantage with this style of microplane is it's so narrow you can't really not fit a spoon in there very easily. And so because this is actually one of the features of this that I like the most, I tend to shy away from using this particular microplane, especially when I want a specific measurement of my zest. But as you can see, with all of these methods, we produce a very nice fine zest that can be used on your food, in your food. I make citrus-based salad dressings and use some zest in it, or put the zest on top of whatever you're making. It just brings a brightness and a liveliness to so many dishes. I hope you try it soon. Thanks for stopping by. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and follow. Thank you.